So when I was scrolling on Twitter, I saw two different call out posts for artists tracing artworks. And I thought it was two separate things at first because I saw them at different times. Turns out it's the same artist. So let's get into this. This is the very first post that was made by Lady Nanami VT, who also goes by Nanami Kismet. They wrote, "Hello everyone. I don't make posts like this, but I have consent from Cupid to make this post, so I'm calling someone who traces other artists' hard work and claims it as their own. At N_Caligenis is a tracer and scammer claiming other people's work as their own." So as we can see, here we have knocked Caligenis writing for the beautiful at QPVT. Thank you. And here is an art piece of Cupid, and they're laying on the floor with a whole bunch of roses strewn about them. And on first glance, the piece looks really pretty, right? Until wait a sec. Hold up. We have this post on April 20th, 2024 by Bayumi, who goes by Bella. I had the pleasure of illustrating Yoki's ending screen, and take a look at this. It is exactly the same. The pose is exactly the same. Right down to the stiletto platform heels. The same stiletto heels. Obviously, things are changed because these are drawings of two different creators, but the pose and the essence of the art piece is completely ripped from Bella's piece. So Nanami writes, "I originally found the traced art while scrolling Twitter and realized it was a traced art of Bayumi's work of Yoki. I thought maybe it might be a mistake, but when overlapped, almost everything lines up, but a few adjust to make it fit the tracer's style." So this is the overlap video that Nanami provided, where as you can see, if you overlap it, it is almost one-to-one. There is some slight changes where it kind of looks like the arms and the head was made bigger and lowered, and so were the arms. But the rest, everything from the chest downwards, including the legs, are the same. Nanami continues, "I contacted the client of the trace work, Cupid and Bayumi, and both are aware and have been informed. When Cupid confronted Kalinigis, the post was deleted, yet the work in progresses are still up and the first post you see." So this was their Twitter page, and as you can see, the first post, work in progress for Cupid's piece, and all of the elements, the pose was traced. Nanami continues, "At Caligenis, I am disgusted. How many of your works are traced? How many artists and clients have you lied to and stolen from? Do better and refund the clients that their work is traced off from." So Cupid comments, "Thank you, Nanami, for making this." And Nanami says, "You're welcome, Cupid, sweetheart." So Dav says, "It's so sad. You can see they're talented at rendering. Such wasted potential." And Nanami says, "They're good at rendering, which is sad. All they had to do was take accountability and admit their mistakes, but they chose to lie and run." So there's also other people who are stating that it's not tracing. So we have Drusifer writing, "Sorry to burst your bubble, but the only thing similar in these designs is the pose, which is normal in the art world among artists. There is enough difference in detail for both artworks to be their original source of work." And Nanami says, "Sorry to tell you, it is traced. Don't matter if you put different clothing on it. They trace many people's work and don't make it right. They knew it was wrong and deleted their account and tried guilt tripping with life ending to avoid getting called out. Adding stuff doesn't change that." So Decimation writes, "But doesn't technically change the original, but I don't know," with a screenshot of fair use, where it writes, "When determining if a use is fair, courts consider four factors: the purpose and character of the use, the nature of the copyrighted work, the amount of the copyrighted work used, the effect of the use of the copyrighted work's value or potential markets. The central question is whether the new work adds something new to the original, or if it merely supersedes it. For example, if a new work alters the original with a different meaning, message, or expression, then it may be considered fair use." Which I would also argue, look, I'm not a lawyer, so take what I say with a grain of salt, but fair use is something that is commonly argued when it comes to YouTube videos, videos reacting to other creators, videos, content, etc. Fair use is not really something, from my understanding, that is argued when it comes to artwork, because that treads a different realm of copyright. Again, I'm not a lawyer or attorney, so maybe I could be wrong, right? But Lady Nanami adds, "We found this." So it's a quote retweet from a Twitter user by the name of Alysso, writing, "Commission for FreeWeVT, thank you," with a beautiful drawing. But look at this. Look what Loner Fox commented. "Is this inspiration?" And as you can see, there is a moon in the mirror for the piece that was made for Cupid that was traced off the pose, right? Look at the moon in the background of the artwork for Freewee. That is the same moon, down to the dot and the star. The dot and the star is the same. The cloud on the bottom of the moon is exactly the same. So it looked like Kalingenis literally took a cutout from this art piece and stuck it in their piece, claiming it's theirs. And again, the original piece was made by Callisto. And look, here's my personal thing, right? Tracing is still tracing. It doesn't matter how much you trace, you still trace. Does that make sense? Like, you don't need to trace the entire piece. There's been cases where people trace the pose, right? And then they would draw in insert another character into the spot. That's still tracing, because you still took somebody else's artwork, drew over it, and then didn't give them credit. Same thing, if you trace somebody's head and then you draw in the body yourself, you still traced. And it gets worse because this is not the first instance of this person tracing. So great ninja comments if there are other instances of this happening. If not, then it's just that you can't copyright a pose thing. And Nanami adds, there are a few, unfortunately, as this post was shared and people came forward and we found more. I have one quoted on my profile. So here we have Suki writing, unfortunately, yes, I noticed the second one right away because it was traced from a wonderful artist, Aliso, and their client who is a friend of mine, Dreamy Etude. The fourth one also looks very familiar. And here we have Fluff and Fox writing, I commissioned them $500 worth. They completed 4 works with one more artwork that was a work in progress before they deactivated their account. If anyone can tell me these are traced, please let me know, and more below. And as you can see, here is an art piece of Fluffin laying in a bed, kind of looking sleepy in PJs. Isn't that looking mad similar to Alysso's piece? So here we have another creator by the name Leah Kitties, and this being the other post that I actually saw. So they wrote, the artist Kalinjis traced my work by Alysso and made it into a Your Character Here commission. The butterflies are completely traced from my commission and the rest is highly referenced. I feel heartbroken. This is the second time this piece has been traced and I own commercial rights. So here we have the Your Character Here that is from Kalinjis, and this is the original piece that was made for Leah by Alysso. So yeah, while looking, the pose here doesn't match up 1-to-1 exactly, but a lot of aspects of it are really similar. From the shape of the tail, and I do want to point out, look at the butterfly shoe specifically. Look at Leah's shoe. When we put the butterfly side by side, these are identical, by the way, the butterflies. It's literally traced, and they changed the angle like a little bit. This butterfly is the exact same as this butterfly. This butterfly on their hip is the exact same as this butterfly. Even the essence of this is just the same, with the same like kind of cat ears, the same bang style. Leah continues, since they deactivated, I am unable to reach them, but this hurts me very much. This is one of my favorite pieces of artwork, and I cannot believe they made money from the work I had commissioned. I hoped it was a mistake, but now I see otherwise. And Leah adds, I found it all on their DeviantArt. This referring to the Your Character Here. Status 2 out of 2. Flat color plus line 15, full color soft shaded plus background 50. Only real bids, please. Payments must be made within 48 hours, etc. Jojo says the poses are actually totally different. I would assume it was maybe only reference, but the fact they deactivated it's so shady. And Leah says if you look at the tail and the butterflies, those are traced directly, which is unfortunate. Muochin says I get the butterflies being traced, but the rest just looks referenced. Whoever made the Your Character Here shouldn't be selling it because the butterflies are obviously copied. However, laying down as a pose in art has been around for centuries. Kitsune characters have also been around. And Leah says I completely agree. This along with the other artwork they've traced definitely paints a picture though. Mine was less so than others absolutely, but I also wanted to raise awareness as it's happened to so many. And Nanami adds, I am so sorry sweetheart, a lot of people's work have been stolen and taken. Found one of the works they made fully. The VTuber's probably fully unaware. We'll let them know. And that's in reference to this piece, which again seems very reminiscent of Leah's piece. And again, right, like nobody owns the concept of having a kitsune fox lay down, but the butterflies are legitimately copied. I feel like for me, it's the essence of the piece, and it's just all these butterflies, the same pose, the same like cat ears tail thing. And this artist has a history of tracing people's work. This is where it starts drawing the line for me. And now we have another creator that was also a victim of Kalinginess. Their name is so hard for me to say. So the creator is Izari Sensei, who goes by the handle Izari_art, writing, I've never been against being inspired by my illustrations. We all start somewhere, we all have artists that we strive for, and I'm always glad when I see artists inspired by my work, but it's too much to copy completely parts of my works. So here are some photos that are attached. Photo 1, the sketch is the one that was made by Noct, and they colored it in. Drawing is made by Asari, and as we can see here, the hair is basically completely traced. Down to the swoosh of the random strands of hair, this swoosh was copied. All of the hair is traced, basically. Even the braid, traced. Here we have another piece, again, traced over Isari's work. As we can see here, so many elements are lining up with the ruffles, everything. So here we have the references, the side by side. So again, this piece was made by Noct, and then the 2 colored in renditions is done by Isari. So as we can see, a lot of elements are borrowed from Asari's piece. A lot. It kind of looked like they took these 2 pieces of Asari's and like mashed them together to make this one. And Asari adds even the stickers. And if you overlay the controller on top of each other, oh boy, the controller is like entirely traced from Asari, including the stickers too. And Asari adds, parts of the illustration are copied line by line. This is only a small part of what I found. I am sure that if I continue to search further, I'll find even more copies completely traced from my illustrations. Again, look at the overlap, the face, the shoulder, shoulder, all of that is traced. A lot of the aspects of the hair is traced as well, like the shape. Here again, we have the chest that's completely traced here. The ruffles are basically traced. The arm positioning is very similar. Like look at the edge of the sleeve here. All of that is traced. And then here, another piece with the foot just lining up way too similarly. And sorry, guys, I don't want to post about it too much, but it really made me laugh. And here you can see knocked and it says reads you, or I guess this means like follows you. And Ravina adds, I know it's not my fault, but I want to personally apologize. My commission that I got from them, the last screenshot of the girl holding the controller, was traced from yours. I feel horrible about this whole situation. Your art is absolutely beautiful. And Asari says, and thank you so much for the kind words about my arts. And about Asari's first piece, this is the side-by-side for more clarity. So this is the sketch that Noct made, and here is Asari's piece. So the big thing is when you look side by side, the hair, the lines of the hair is exactly the same. To where the side swoosh of the bangs, that extra swoop piece right here, the pieces that swoop in on the left side of the bangs, even this like extra piece that sticks out, all of that was traced. And Lyric adds, every single one of her works is copied from either Aliso or someone else. So this is a piece that again, Noct made, or alleged made, quote unquote, right? And look at this. Look at this character specifically, right? The white hair, the kind of fox face. Oh, what is this? Is this Aliso's piece that has been copied? Actually, even more so. Why is it so damn similar? Like, the pose is not the same, but the eyes are basically exactly one-to-one. Yeah, are we seeing this, guys? And again, I mean, not that I need to prove the validity of the unfortunate victims of this case, but Aliso has speed paints. Like, we know these are legitimate pieces made. So what's up with that, Noct? So then after that, this is still on November 17th, Lady Nanami makes an update writing, they remove the post, they are clearly aware of the call out and are deleting things to save themselves. And then Nanami made another post writing, DMs, how did it ruin your life? You chose to trace and chose to lie to your client and use life ending to guilt trip me into removing the post. This is honestly disgusting behavior. I will not take it down. Own your mistakes and take accountability. So here are the DMs between Noct and Nanami, with Noct writing, hello, please delete the post. I feel very bad and very guilty. This will not happen again. I have already apologized and realized my mistake. The money will be refunded since I am from Russia and PayPal is blocked, but I will definitely settle this as soon as I have the opportunity to refund the money. I'm sorry, but you're ruining a person with your actions. I've already apologized and it was my only mistake. I'm sad how you ruined my life. I'm ready to commit life end if I didn't see this shame. By the way, I always think it's really funny when people like this get called out, right? And they're like, woe is me for the consequences of my own actions, right? You wouldn't be in this place if you just didn't trace over people's artwork. No, if you do bad actions, you will get the consequences from your bad actions. So I always find it really funny every time these people kind of pull the 180. Oh my God, I'm the victim. I'm so sorry. I've learned my lesson. Like, with the amount that this person has traced, they surely would have gone on to continue tracing unless they were called out, because they didn't seem like they had any intention of stopping because there were so many examples of it. Jandy adds, the way they want to weaponize the act of unaliving, ... that makes me sick to the stomach. And Lyric adds, it's only her mistake. It's not your fault that you stopped this artist's actions. It's a pity that she has poor mental health, but it will serve as a great lesson. And then Nanami adds, this was disgusting. They ran away after posting them using life ending as a hideaway, but they might come back under a new name. Please be aware and safe. And then Nanami adds, they are such a massive liar. How bad can you be? They even trace art of Aliso. So this is continuation of the DMs where Nanami says, no, I will not delete the post, take accountability. I will not be guilt tripped into deleting the post. Refund everyone you use trace work, all of them. Own up to your lies and mistakes. And Noct says, it was the only time I didn't translate. I was just inspired and this is my biggest mistake that I regret. And Nanami adds, you trace one thing who is to say another isn't. So then Nanami adds, okay, this will be my last post unless I need to address something on behalf of QP, as she asked me to make the call out for her as I contacted her in private about the situation. I hope that all the people who got commissions are okay. And your art was not done by being traced. It is a shame that the artist won't take accountability and has chose to ran away instead of refunding or admitted publicly their mistakes. I hope this will be a learning point for the artist and they change their behavior and refund. All the clients whose work were traced and those waiting for art even after paying, please understand that my intentions are to hold people accountable and for those affected to be refunded. And then Noct on their account, in which they had deleted their account and then I guess reinstated it, they wrote, hello, sorry for the account freeze. I was deeply depressed because of this height. I apologize to the artist I was inspired by, but I didn't circle him. I admit my mistake and it won't happen again. Now I will remove the speed paint for new drawings, as well as attach the reference files that I will use. You're right to unsubscribe from me, I will understand that. Sorry, I have nothing more to add. And people aren't happy about this response. Leah says, you traced part of my commission too and made it into a paid your character here, and I haven't heard anything from you. Tracing an artist's work that I also own the commercial rights to is not only illegal, but morally wrong. Local Girl Failure says, maybe refund every person you done wrong. They paid a lot of money for art that is traced. They might not be able to use it anymore because of that. And Asari says, what do you say about this? With screenshots of the tracing. I understand that you have artists that you're inspired by, but don't you think this is too much? Parts of the illustration are completely circled. And Loner Fox said, is this inspiration? With the exact cutout of the moon again that was used in the piece for Kewpie. Kiyosumari says, profiting off of others' intellectual works is illegal. Your lucky hate is all you got. Tracing isn't reference. You should at least be crediting the people who you're stealing from and never accept payment for copyrighted works without commercial license. And Sute Kinamimi says, at this point, almost everything you posted is either fully or partially traced. Yikes. Original artist for Beach is Neko Meta, and the bunny suit is Alice Vu 134. So again, we have more overlaps with the posing and the art piece. And at the end of the day, here's the thing that's honestly the most absurd to me is that Noct has artistic skill. You can see that they have a rendering ability and they're able to render at a pretty decent and high level. If they just weren't lazy and did the posing themselves, they would be a good artist. But it just honestly sucks when you see people that have talent absolutely resort to the laziest way possible and the most unethical way possible to get things done. Because you don't need to. There are so many ethical ways out there if you struggle with posing. 1, take a photo of yourself in poses. 2, 3D models that you can use. There's 3D models online that you can use for free to pose in poses that you can then reference. Point number 3, grab reference photos of actual people. You know, there's literally a database out there for people who will pose in dynamic posing that you can use for art pieces and reference more than one. Just grab a whole bunch of references like, oh, I like the way the head is positioned here, but I like the hand on this one, and I like the legs on this photo, and just like bash it together and rework that for yourself. Those are the big things, right? And the final thing is, I said this in so many of my videos, but please, for the love of God, reference more than one piece. If you're gonna reference people's artwork, it's fine as long as you do it ethically, but don't reference strictly one art piece from one artist. Just use multiple references, because if you only have one reference, you are bound to make your art piece look like them. You will kind of unintentionally copy their artwork, whether you wanted to or not, because you're only using one reference piece. Just use multiple references. You will then have a piece that looks uniquely yours, and do not draw over somebody's artwork and then claim it to be yours. That is never okay. I hope Noct can learn and be better. They've been tracing for a very long time, so I feel like it'll take them a minute. I don't think this is going to be a quick, to me, it seems like they are sorry because they got caught, and they're not sorry because they were doing this action, especially because they're not owning up to the amount of tracing they've done. They were saying that they only traced off one piece and they were inspired by, when there are so many examples of this. And again, I am so sorry to all of the artists that were affected by this one bad actor, and for the people that paid money for commissions that they thought were genuine art pieces that turns out to be traced. It absolutely sucks. So with that, I'll have everybody linked down below so you can go check them out, and the artist as well, the original artist, because their art is extremely talented. And if you like this video, I appreciate it if you like and subscribe. I also stream on Twitch 3 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, Saturdays at 6 p.m. PST. So I hope to catch you guys there or in another one of my videos.